Hello, my name is Maria Besubova and you're at my channel Fertilizers Jazz. Here we talk about events, trends, technologies in the world of fertilizers and agriculture. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and let's jazz! Also, please check my interview with Georgy Borisov, Commercial Director of Agropolychem, one of the largest European producers of nitrogen and phosphate fertilizers. We discussed with Georgy challenges that European producers face and future of the industry in the light of CBAM regulation. It was published last Wednesday, so please check it out for insights. Today is 8th of July 2024 and it is a weekly markets update. Let's have a look at the news of week 27 and see what are the next trends. Nitrogen market has cooled down amid news about gradual restoration of gas supply to the Egyptian producers. And of course, in the expectation of Indian tender that will close later today. As it usually happens, all parties, both from supply and demand side, are watching tender results in order to understand where the price trend will go. Many players deliberate that proposals in the tender will be in the range between $345 to $355 CFR. But some sources indicate that potentially higher values. They're basing themselves on the SABIC sales confirmed this week for 25,000 tons of combined granular and prilled at $357 and $353 respectively. FOB to the private buyer in the Indian subcontinent. Most likely, Russian prilled product will dominate in the tender, with 350 to 400,000 tons of potential supply. Also, Fertiglobe is rumored to propose directly to the tender. Other than that, Middle East producers are heavily sold out for July and beginning August, so there might be only very limited proposals from them. As we discussed last week, the total expected tender volume is between 7 to 800,000 tons, but there is no firm figure, of course. It might turn out to be even less, as it happened in the last tender. Egyptian production restart helps the market bullish sentiment to cool down. However, market players indicate that there is no guarantee that production will not be halted again later during the summer. Despite 20 LNG vessels contracted, still the country might feel gas supply scarcity during expected heat waves, so fertilizers production might be again deprioritized versus household consumption. As per evaluations, potential losses of Egyptian production between May 21, when gas supply was stopped for the first time, and July 2, are between 490 to 540,000 tons. About 310 to 340,000 of those would have been targeted to the international market. Is it big or not? As a result, Egyptian producers are not cancelling any contracts. Only some of them are being delayed, but in general no major influence, no force majeure has happened. On the back of Egyptian supply uncertainty, Algerian producers sold last week about 30,000 tons in the price range of $380 to $385 FOB to Europe. But European demand is almost non-existing now, because farmers are focused on harvesting campaign, and traders are waiting for price trend clarity. Same tendency dominated in the Latin American markets, where buyers last week were not willing to close deals before the Indian tender results. On top of that, bad corn prices in Brazil, plus very expensive Brazilian real versus US dollar influenced slow demand. In the US, last week was half-holiday week, so the activity was subdued. Also, gloomy projections for corn from the latest USDA report are adding bearish sentiment. There were several sales tenders announced last week. Indonesian Puk Holdings announced the first tender since end May for 30 to 45,000 tons of granular urea for shipment in August. Market sources informed on Friday that a bid at $350 FOB was received, most likely for shipment to Australia. This week we will hear tender awarding. Also, Iranian producers announced tenders for a significant volume of mainly granular product. Again, more information will follow this week. Paper values dropped for all benchmarks. FOB Egypt future for July indicated between $355 and $370, $5 lower versus a week ago. For August, to $345 to $360. For September, $345 to $355. NOLA value lost $10 and is indicated at $295 to $305 for July, $300 to $310 for August, and September same for short-term. Ammonium sulfate market was also quiet due to low activity in nitrogen market in general. Prices for Chinese standard grade product were sliding to the range of $145 to $150 FOB. Granular values also decreased almost by $10 to $155, $165 FOB. Nitrates and UAN markets remain mostly inactive due to off-season and low general activity. In ammonia, the bullish trend amid $15 increase for July monthly deal between Yara and Mosaic a week ago continued. Last week, another deal happened between Algerian producer AOA and Tramo at the level of $440 FOB, plus $20 to previous levels. Also, Indian buyer purchased 15,000 tons spot cargo from Indonesia and 435 CFR for July. The supply in Trinidad is still limited due to continuing gas supply curtailments, and supply in other main producing regions hasn't normalized yet. So the market continues to be moderately bullish. Several news regarding green ammonia projects emerged last week. First, SABIC was given a green light for 1.2 million tons per year new blue ammonia plant at Jubail. No details about commencement timing is available yet. Second, important news came from Egypt, where government officials signed several agreements with different international investors for new green ammonia projects of total 6 million tons capacity and $33 billion worth. Most of these projects are expected to come on stream at the end of this decade or in early 30s. All these projects add fuel to the new green era of fertilizers. Phosphates demand in key markets continues to be firm and supply continues to be tight, so prices feel comfortable increasing. Bangladesh closed its tender but received offers for much lower quantities than tendered. Proposals were made for 400,000 tons of DAP versus 500,000 requested, and only 65,000 tons of TSP from 250 requested. DAP offers are in the range of $645 to $695 CFR, TSP offers in the range of $645 to $660. We will see the nominations soon. Buyer in the European markets showed quite an active week, despite limited end users' demand reported in the markets right now. OCP reported sales of more than 40,000 tons of DAP to various Western, Central and Eastern European markets at the level of $585 to $620 FOB for August-September loading, plus 14,000 tons of MAP to same markets at similar price level. Tunisian producer entered the market last week and reported sales of 40,000 tons of DAP to European markets, and Turkey as well, at the level of $610 to $620 FOB for July loading. Egyptian producer NCIC also sold a lot of 33,000 tons of DAP for July loading for Europe and the US, and seems to be sold out until August fully. Production is being restored, so perhaps producer will start selling soon for August. Latin American demand is slow, especially in Brazil. OCP sold 30,000 tons of MAP to Latin America between $600 and $610 FOB. Brazilian buyers held purchases last week, with demand for small quantities of MAP circulating only. Price of Russian product increased to $630 CFR, but no major activity was seen. In the Eastern Hemisphere, prices continue to firm. Ma'aden sold 50,000 tons to India at the low $550 CFR level, which is $10 higher versus previous sales. Indian DAP stocks are decreasing and are evaluated as low in the current point in time of the season. Chinese FOB prices also firmed to $555, $160. So in close future, until the end of Q3, global phosphate prices will be on the rise. Moving to the fundamentals. European natural gas price slightly decreased versus a week ago and fluctuates at the level of 33 euros per megawatt hour. European futures have been relatively stable between 33 to 36 euros for the past 6 weeks due to low demand and high inventories. Demand forecasts are steady, LNG supply looks stable, and no unplanned maintenance is expected in Norway due to the holiday season. Meanwhile, increased wind generation in northwest Europe will likely reduce gas demand for power plants until the weekend. European gas storage is nearly 78% full, so if nothing major unexpected pops up, the prices will be stable to lower. US natural gas futures continue decreasing and hit the lowest point in 7 weeks at $2.33 per MMBtu. It happens due to increased production and oversupply. Production hit a 17-month low in May, but higher prices in recent weeks encouraged producers to resume drilling. At the same time, the latest International Energy Agency report showed gas in storage was 19% above the seasonal norm, which limits further sales to the storage. After the heat ends in July as expected, most likely production will be decreased again. Agricultural commodities markets still digest the latest report of USDA. Wheat price, after almost 2 months free fall, reversed the trend and reached $5.91 per bushel on Friday. Wheat market was on the rally mode after USDA reported a solid round of export activity. Export sales reports saw all wheat bookings running over 800,000 tons during the week that ended on June 27. That was the largest sale total since China came in last December and bested the 350 to 700,000 tons expectations heading into the report. On top of that, first news from France harvesting start to emerge, and those are quite pessimistic. It shows both quantity and quality deterioration due to heavy rainfalls recently, especially in soft wheat segment. In Russia, first harvest results show higher than expected volume, but lower quality. All these factors pushed international futures price up. On the contrary, corn futures dropped to $4.24 per bushel, marking 4-year low due to abundant inventories in the US and Europe. High inventory levels, coupled with the anticipated 10 million ton increase in global reserves this year, could continue to push prices even lower. Additionally, the USDA's report revealed higher than expected US corn plantings at 91.5 million acres, beating March estimates and analyst expectations. Soybean futures were traded at $11.9 per bushel, slightly up from a 6-week low reached in mid-June, amid expectations of higher supply and steady demand. As per latest USDA report, the developments in the US crop offset the expected downgrade to Brazil's stock. Moving to the shipping industry, we face another week of increasing indices. Containerized freight index increased by almost 1% in a week amid continuing congestions in the Asian ports that increase market volatility. Since the beginning of 2024, the index increased already by 112%, and market doesn't feel it is the end of the rally yet. The Baltic Exchange Dry Index saw its first weekly decline in 6 weeks, dropping by almost 3% week on week, amid ongoing general subdued demand. The capesize index, which typically transports 150,000 tons cargoes such as iron ore and coal, slumped by 4%, and the panamax index decreased by more than 1%. To sum up, all eyes are at the Indian tender now, that will be closed this week. Before that, buyers are reluctant to make any purchase decisions, waiting for price direction further in the quarter based on price proposals and final volume that will be purchased. Market expects prices for L1 in the tender between $345 to $355. Please indicate your guess in the comments. Egyptian producers are back on stream with gas supply resumed, so general market situation in nitrogen cooled down. Phosphate segment is bullish amid tightening of supply, and this happens even before India is out in the market with major seasonal purchase. So market expects more price increase. Agricultural fundamentals became better for wheat. That was struggling for 2 months at least, but corn perspective looks gloomy after last week's USDA report. Harvesting campaign is ongoing in Europe, and first results for the major producer France are quite disappointing. In the next weeks we will see how good or bad the harvest will be in fact, and how much funds farmers will have for fertilizers purchases for the next season. So let's see what is next around the corner, but it will be already next week. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and see you soon.